I'm going to call the Blanco County Commissioners Court to order this August 17th, 2020. Ask Ms. Wall to call the roll. Here.
Here. Here. Here. Here.
You'll join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments today. We have Mr. Kenneth Welch.
Definition of corruption: dishonest or illegal behavior, especially by powerful people such as government officials or police officers. I believe persons in power in Blanco County may be corrupt. Judge Bray, assisted by this court, has repeatedly denied my right to make public comment during public meetings. PIA officer for this county has repeatedly used the public information law to restrict access to public information rather than to facilitate access to information as it was intended by the Texas legislature. The PIA officer has repeatedly delayed, denied, and deceived regarding documents that I requested. The position has created last year, and the assistant county attorney was chosen to perform the duties and was granted an increase of $5,000 per year. Now Judge Bray is proposing to raise the amount to $8,231 a year. I'm wondering if this 64.6% raise is actually a loyalty check for doing the bidding and restricting open government and public information in Blanco County.
I'm going to stop you for just a moment. Would you stop his time? Commissioners, the local rules, your rules of decorum, indicate that it's inappropriate and unacceptable for personal attacks on individuals. So I need to know if you want to continue with this particular comment where, no, sir, I'm not going to recognize you. If this particular set of comments describing my activities as corrupt, Ms. Ashby's activities as corrupt, and or if you want to, it's okay if you want to let him continue. But last time after the meeting, I was criticized by some, or at least the criticism is not the right word. Some were disappointed that I allowed personal attacks to continue. So I want to put it on the floor today whether or not you want to let these personal attacks go on. If you do, that's fine with me. We'll let him continue with his 2 minutes and whatever's left.
No, I believe he continues to be bolder and bolder each time he gets up there, and he's getting a little bit, now he's accusing everybody of corruption, and I feel like that if that's going to be the case, if it's going to get worse and worse, then we need to look in to see if it is legal for him to do that. But we don't have to tolerate it today. Well,
then what probably is appropriate would be a motion to excuse him and for him to have forfeited his time today.
I'll make a motion that we do that.
Is there a second? Commissioner Eaker seconds. Discussion.
Yeah, I have discussion.
All in favor say aye.
I have discussion.
All opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner
might I point out, I just asked a question.
Mr. Granberg, did you vote?
Yes. I made no accusations.
Did you vote aye or no?
Excuse me.
Yes. Sir, you can sit down. You are now excused.
He asked for discussion.
Have a seat. Have a seat. I'm telling you right now, you will be removed from court. Have a seat. Have a seat.
It's a public meeting. I just asked a question. I made no accusations whatsoever.
They voted that you did.
But they're wrong. If they would listen, play the tape back. Would you please play the tape back? I did not accuse anyone of anything. I asked a question.
Don't do this.
No, I want to do this.
No, we're not going to handcuff you. You're being removed.
Can I put my mask on?
Yes,
Would you please put your mask on?
I will.
Thank you. This is for the record. I'm leaving it here for the record.
That's fine. Come on.
I really
Item 4 is to consider ongoing discussions regarding budget items for fiscal year 2020, 2021. Commissioners, the item that has to be taken care of today is a vote on the proposed budget and more importantly, the proposed tax rate so that notices can be published accurately by Ms. Fry. And the budget hearing can go on as scheduled on August the 25th after publications have been appropriately taken care of. But in addition, and that you can see that as item number 5. But in addition, of course, item number 4 is a general discussion of the tax rate. Of the budget in general, and I know that some of you have been studying it for a while now and probably or may have some thoughts or things you want to talk about. So if you want to direct us to a page in line, we can discuss things.
So, Judge, I have page 12, line item 275. In page, 13 is line item 305. This is what we talked about with the sheriff's office about purchasing of cell phones for the deputies and the people that, instead of using their personal phones. And there's a duplication, so either we do one way or we do the other. So, I'm in favor of utilizing and getting them cell phones to use for their work duties. So I would like to delete the $7,680 out of the $275.
I'm sorry, can you identify the line again?
Line item is 10-425-275, optional benefits. And then on the page 13 will be 305 labeled cellular.
Right.
So I'd like to leave the cellular and just delete the optional benefits.
Okay.
Because that's, to my knowledge, that's exactly what that does.
Have you got that one? All right. Anybody have an objection? Because I don't.
No objection.
What's next?
That's it for this moment.
We do have a
video.
Sir?
We go to the video that I'm asking for, the 30,000 is on cameras, and the video, it's half the price of those line items are still there.
Okay, well, frankly, I just got jogged for a memory that you probably need to take the microphone and we need to debate for the commissioners, the two salaries. There are two salaries that are, I think, still at play here. One of them we don't really completely disagree on. Between today and October the 1st, we have a sergeant jailer. Is that what you call it?
Yes.
That is intended to be hired as a deputy patrolman. But today he's in line 115, and he's anticipated to go to line 143 or 6.
Either 44 or 46, either one.
Yeah, but right. No, because this is sergeant patrol here. Oh, yes, okay. And that was going to be taken out, right, the sergeant part? Because sergeant patrol went up to line 103. Right. So, should be both deputies. Mine's still, I'm sorry, I'm looking at a little bit older one that says patrol. So either 144 or 146 is going to be, the person, and then 115 will be open.
Yes.
And here's the issue. I propose to put the person in 144 or 146 at the starting deputy salary of 40. The new starting deputy salary, if you approve the new starting deputy salary of 40, and I think the sheriff wants a little bit different number. Is that right?
Yes, he'd be starting 39.5 if he goes before October 1st.
Oh.
If he starts this month, Randall will be. The next one will not.
So
is the real difference? Okay, if he starts at 39.5 between now and the end of the fiscal year,
Yes, sir.
he would be eligible for the cost of living adjustment.
Yes, sir.
And that's all.
That's it.
Do you remember what 39.5 and 6% is? $41,880 versus what? What would you propose?
Well, that's what I'm proposing for that.
Is 41,880.
By the new, after the new budget kicks in.
Well, then somehow or other, we're not in disagreement, but.
Well, if we started him at 40 right now, then he'd be well above that. And those that are started the same time would not be.
But we can't start him at 40 right now because the Commissioners Court has not set the base salary at 40.
Well, it's 39.5 right now.
Yes, sir.
After October 1st, it'll be 40.
Right.
Well, those that have been hired this year also would be behind.
Okay. I'm not.
So, Judge, what I'm hearing is in line 146, we need to increase that amount from 40,000 to 41,880.
Is that
Yes.
Is that what you want?
Yes.
Because I'm good with that.
And then in line 115, we need to reduce that amount to a new salary.
Right, it'd be 5%. What I'm asking is a 5% raise for a promotion. So whoever promotes back there, which most of them have 2 years or less, whatever they're making, they're doing 5%.
Which is why I don't think we want to drop that amount because
You
we don't.
might not would have to drop that.
But, so here, yeah. That's the difficult thing about the sergeants,
It is.
changing. So if we moved that line item and just took the sergeant off of it and have it jailer number 2 and put it as a base salary, then whoever gets become the sergeant, whether it's jailer 1 or jailer 3, you put 5% on whatever theirs.
But how do we know?
Until they get a promotion, then
My question is, if that happens after October the 1st, we can't really address that.
yeah, that's, unless you put it in the 139 supervisor pay. Yeah. But I don't know a dollar amount because it's based off of their salary.
The problem, and that's an option, but we've zeroed out supervisor pay and tried to put them elsewhere. So now we're kind of flip-flopping back into
I know that's,
that habit.
There is 130, it's promotion. It's got $5,000.
yeah, there you go.
But that was that proposed before thinking about this jailer sergeant? Or Was it
Well, the
contemplated?
jailer sergeant is already an established position. If the promotions we haven't used in a couple of years because we haven't made up a position. Or
So-
if we did make up a position, that's what we used it out of.
Let me ask you this, because this is what I think you're thinking. You're thinking when the person vacates line 115, the jailer sergeant, and goes on, that you'll be putting somebody in as a jailer sergeant in line 115.
Yes,
And then if it happens to be somebody promoting from within, then they'll be vacating a jailer slot ostensibly.
no,
Wait a minute. They'll be going to 115 and then there'll be a vacant
There'll be
jailer
a
slot
vacant.
to fill.
yes, a vacant jailer's position.
So don't you need both of those budget lines to do that
Yes,
as they are?
yes.
That's what I'm seeing. How am I missing it? See, I think 115 ought to stay as it is, depending on who he hires. And only 146
But let's
should change to the,
let's just use Jailer 6 as an example. If Jailer 6 became the new sergeant, that's more than a 5% increase.
well, I'm not saying that they would go to it. I'm saying we have budgeted enough so that we cover
Okay, I see
whoever
what you're
goes
saying,
into
yeah.
it. You're right. If Jailer 6 became sergeant, it would be, today they're making $33.19, is that right?
Yes.
So it would be 5% more.
Yes,
I'm sorry, that's not true because there's a floor amount for a sergeant, isn't there, a jailer sergeant? Right, so that would be, well, but what if it were a jailer? Never mind, we don't have any that. I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well. So that should be the amount, because it's either gonna be a new person at the base salary
Right.
for a sergeant, or it's gonna be that person as the highest possibility, is that right?
that's fine. I don't, there is those with way more time back there. I don't know who will be sergeant. I don't know who's interested, and it won't be filled immediately. But
At least the money's
the
there.
money's there. We can budget for the money to be there.
Right.
Yes.
And we've agreed on line, going back to 146, we've agreed on that line as,
41,880.
all right? Okay, so that's two, no, that was one. What was the other one?
The other was maintenance.
Maintenance. The person in the maintenance slot has completed and obtained his jailer certification.
Yes, sir.
And so, by my way of thinking, he ought to be up to the proposed base salary for a jailer at $33,503, and the sheriff or the chief deputy one had a different number in mind. remind me what it is?
33,892.
33,892. And so,
But the only reason for the jailer's license is to use inmates as, for additional help, correct?
Yes, but he has gone through the license, and, he could be a licensed jailer back there too, I mean, that's what he's licensed for. My main concern is being able for him to take work inmates, not only, but throughout the county. He has a jailer's license, he can take them and supervise them himself for maintenance throughout the county, if needed. And for sure, maintenance around the LEC. Because that would be a one-year jailer. That would be what the one-year jailers would be making.
what you're saying, so let me say it another way and see if you agree.
Okay.
I think what you're saying is he's been here a year, and a one-year jailer in a year today would be in line to get the 6% cost of living adjustment, which would take you to the 33,892.
And be here a year, be close to it. And that's what we're doing on the other.
They have to be here, they have to complete the year before
I see what you're saying. Before they get across the board raised.
they get their longevity.
But he's just talking about the 6%.
Yeah.
And so, I guess the debate is that I proposed it at his original raise. Where is he in the list?
137.
137? At 32,880, is that right? 860? And then, since he's got his certification, I agree to 33,503 as the base jailer, and then the sheriff would like it to be 33,892 as his base jailer plus cost of living. And I leave it up to you all to decide what you want to do. And we're really only
Talking $390.
$389, and so I don't think we should spend a tremendous amount of time on it, but y'all just need to decide between the $389.
I think the 33,892 is fine with me.
Did you say 33,892
Yes,
is fine with
what
you?
the sheriff proposed.
Okay, that's one.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, that's good.
I think I'm hearing mumbling over there
So will this
that both
licensed jailer, if we have like a cleanup event, could he bring a crew of inmates out to help?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good.
It appears that there's a consensus among all four commissioners for 33,892, and so that's what will be published. What was the other thing?
On the audio, in the jail, the audio and video, getting away from the DVR, there was two bids. One was 16 something, one was 30. To get it done completely to where it just goes to the cloud, that'd be the one-time deal instead of doing the 16 every year. And I don't, do you remember what I said?
So if the capital, this is another one of those items we kind of had double budgeted as a contingent. And with the capital outlay for the new cameras in the jail, if that's a go, we can get rid of $6,000 in another line.
Which line item?
It is line item 4627, it's on page 13 of your DVR system. With the new jail cameras, we won't need the DVRs, so we don't need to go extra replace them.
Okay.
Okay, Connie, do you have the 6,000 earmarked? to take out. Everybody's in agreement that we'll take that out, at least for the moment, unless you do something with the capital item. Okay? Sheriff, anything else?
Those were my two main concerns. Or three. What else?
That's all I remember.
That's the 5%, the maintenance, and then video.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have anything to remind us of? Okay, so we've increased the autopsy fund as discussed. Are we still taking out the extra telephone line and phone that we don't need in the auditor's office? Okay, I think everything else you have all been aware of. So I guess now we're down to one more discussion that I have. Since our last meeting, I've been tossing around back and forth the idea of, can I get you to turn to the revenue page, page 3? And I'm going to ask you to make 3 notes to the right-hand side on the outside over there. The first being at the very top, you'll write down .3086. And then if you'll go to the tax line, current taxes, 110. And where it says 6,670,924. If you'll put out to the right of there, 6,434,000. And then if you'll drop down to line 291, the transfer, and right out to the side, 1,522,000. So I've been struggling with this notion of the no new revenue rate, which is 38.06 cents per hundred. And those would be those two things I asked you to write down. Those would be the 2 things that would change in the overall budget. The transfer would go up and the tax revenue would go down by $200,000. I was thinking about asking you to consider approving that proposed rate in order for this notice to get published by Ms. Fry. But I don't think I want to even ask you that. It's certainly open for discussion But I think I want to still continue with the 39.5 cents that's structured in this budget as it is right now and proposed, and publish it that way. But I want to plant the seed now for the September 8th meeting, that you be thinking about the idea of possibly going down to the no new revenue rate of 38.06 cents per hundred. Yes, I realize it. I'll, until somebody wants to say something, I'll say a little more. I realize it makes the reserve transfer higher. It's not the highest it's ever been. I went back in history and I've seen higher before my time. But I do think that because if you look at this current year's pattern in the last couple of years, that the departments have done such a good job saving money that that are trying to operate under budget, that I don't see the reserve transfer actually in reality being that large in the end. We've contributed to the fund balances the last 2 years. I believe we're going to contribute again this year, and I actually think that we would come close to a balanced budget at 38.06 cents per hundred.
So my only concern is this year we're proposing major projects that those will get spent. That's not like they're gonna be put back.
Well, and let me say, true, but I think that the revenue from the other sources of revenue might be okay. I thought what you were going to say, and I raised my hand just because all of that and the 38.06, and the reason I'm still struggling with it is I don't know if the pandemic is going to make things worse next year when you get to the second wave, if there is a second wave or not. Blanco County seems to, and I don't know what the pipeline taxes have done. I'm not talking about the community investments. I'm talking just about sales tax. It's just sales tax.
Right.
Sales tax and business.
Right.
I don't know what that has done or what
Increase has been.
what that's going to look like when they're gone
Right.
after December, mostly. So there's some things to think about. And yes, the
Right.
projects are big, but I think the projects can be absorbed. So anyway, I go ahead.
I'd be probably reluctant to reduce it and rather increase more projects because I know for instance, have a whole lot of low water crossings that need to be done, and I'm just proposing one. So.
Well, everybody is though.
I know that, water runs across and they're 10 foot wide, so, I mean, I would rather see, if we're trying to, if we're looking at our fund balance, improving our low water crossings, improving some roads in our infrastructure.
Well, the other thing is, and I'm sure you think of this, it's not a lot of money. As a matter of fact, it seems like even at the no new revenue rate, because of valuations, people's taxes are still going up. But the point is, at this 38.06 rate, it's not going up as fast. And I guess, there's been unemployment and other issues that have come up because of COVID, and a few dollars means something to people. And so if we can help them out with a lower tax rate and still conduct business, that was my thinking.
Right.
Judge, if you reduced it to 3806, then the difference in dollars is going to be a little over 200,000. Is that right?
I believe it's about 250. It's just under 250. I think.
250.
But unless you jump on this, I don't really propose that for today. I think we ought to go ahead and go through with how it's laid out for today, and just be thinking about it. You'd have almost a month, well, 3 or 4 weeks, to think about it. And the public can. I think they can at least know that it won't be higher than 39.5 cents, and we'll publish it that way. But the idea being maybe it can go lower. Maybe, if you're convinced. Is that a fair plan?
Mm-hmm.
And is that something you'd be willing to move and vote on?
Sure.
To go with the existing proposal?
With the changes that we made today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did I miss anything that anybody knows of? So the two things that are needed are a proposal on a proposed tax rate for Ms. Fry to be able to publish this, and a separate proposal, separate motion to approve the proposed budget for purposes of a budget hearing on August the 25th.
So the wording of the proposed tax rate.
And one more thing, do we need to vote on this one too, the salaries? Okay, it's just a notice. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So the wording on the motion for the proposed tax rate, does that not have to include the INS and any of that?
It does, and I think it does, and it won't hurt. And I think, and I meant to say, if I wasn't clear, that under either scenario, whether it's the 38 cents that we talk about maybe in the future, or the 39.5 cents that we talk about now, 4 cents still goes to INS, and the rest, so in this case, 35.5 cents would go to M&O.
Do those have to be a separate motion?
The two rates?
Right.
No, I don't think so.
They can be under one motion. So I'll make a motion to approve the proposed tax rate of 35.5 for M&O and 0.4 for INS for the FY 2020-2021 budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Was there any wording that I might have left out in that motion?
I don't think so. I think that's all she needs for purposes of filling in the form.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. It is a record vote. So, so we'll need to call. Aye.
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 And that takes us back up to item 4, so that we can publish the Blanco County proposed budget for public hearing on August 25th.
To item 6.
I'm sorry. I said 4, didn't I? I meant 6.
So I'll make a motion to approve the proposed FY 2020-2021 budget with the amendments we made today.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Granberg seconds. Another roll vote?
Judge Green?
Aye.
Commissioner Eaton?
Aye.
Commissioner Weir?
Aye.
Commissioner Leesman?
Aye.
Commissioner Granberg?
Aye.
You threw us. You put precinct 2 ahead of precinct 1.
Hey, we're good. We're good.
Is there anything else? Thank you all. I'm sorry we didn't have this properly set up for the prior meeting, but getting it done this Monday will keep us on schedule and on track, and we can move to public hearings and such.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.